There are seasons in life when the ground beneath you begins to tremble, though no storm has yet appeared on the horizon. A quiet shift moves in the air, like the first chill before winter or the subtle fragrance that announces spring. Most wander past these moments, blind, busy with noise, convinced the world is steady. Yet deep within you may sense it, the invisible tide is turning. The Stoics spoke of fate not as an enemy, but as the eternal river carrying each of us toward our appointed shores. The current changes without warning. To the unprepared, it feels like chaos, as if the universe has betrayed them. But to the attentive soul, these tremors are not accidents, they are signals. They are whispers from the order of things, urging you to rise, to shed what has grown too small for the person you are becoming. This path is not gentle. To awaken is to be unsettled. To grow is to lose what once felt safe. Yet what is life but a series of transformations? The seed must split to become a tree. The iron must endure fire to become a blade. The heart must be tested to learn its own strength. Today, we look into these signals, those subtle, undeniable signs that your life is not standing still, but preparing to unfold. You may recognize them already stirring within you. If so, do not dismiss them. For the one who listens, change is not a curse, but a calling, and every sign is a lantern guiding you through the dark. 1. Restlessness. There is a silence that does not comfort. You rise one morning and the air feels heavier, as though the world has shifted half a breath to the side. Nothing outward has changed, the same walls, the same duties, the same paths trodden by your feet. And yet inside something stirs like a bird beating against the bars of its cage. It is not boredom. Boredom is light and passing. This is deeper, a gnawing unease, a sense that the ground beneath your life no longer holds. What once sustained you now tastes of ash. What once seemed steady now presses against your chest like a weight. You do not belong to these days as you once did, and the very things that carried you now feel foreign. The ancients knew this feeling well. They saw it as the first whisper of transformation, the soul itself rejecting what has grown too small for it. Like a snake shedding its skin, you are pressed against limits that can no longer contain you. To resist is to suffer, for the skin cannot remain unbroken once the new form demands to emerge. Often people mistake this disquiet for weakness. They ask themselves, "What is wrong with me? Why can I no longer feel at peace here?" But nothing is wrong. In truth, everything is aligning. The unease is not a flaw, but a sign. The river within you is changing course, and though the banks resist, the current will carve its way. If you ignore it, life grows sharper. Old comforts collapse doors, close structures you leaned on crumble. Not because fate despises you, but because fate insists you must not remain where you are. Providence does not allow the tree to stay a seed. It does not permit the eagle to remain in its shell. What feels like loss is only the breaking of what must break so that growth may come. You may fear the unknown. You may cling to the familiar even when it chafes. Yet hear this: restlessness is not your enemy. It is the call of your greater life. It does not arrive to torment, but to unshackle. To numb it with distraction is to betray yourself. To listen is to begin walking the road written for you. Every soul knows this moment. It comes like the first crack in a fortress wall, letting through a shaft of light. You can cover the crack, pretend the wall is whole, but the light will find you again and again until you cannot deny it. Better then to welcome it. To step forward not in fear, but in quiet trust that what is crumbling was never meant to hold you forever. And so when unease rises within you, do not ask, "How do I silence this?" Ask instead, "Where does this path wish to lead me?" For the truth is plain, restlessness is the herald of your becoming. It does not break you, it frees you. 2. The quiet departure of companions. There is a peculiar loneliness that arrives not with sudden abandonment, but with silence. One day you notice the circle around you has thinned. Familiar voices fade. Faces once near drift to the edges of your life. Some depart gently, like leaves falling unnoticed from a branch. Others turn away sharply, like doors slammed in the night. At first you wonder if you have failed them. You retrace words, moments, gestures, asking, "What did I do wrong?" But the truth is simpler though, harder to bear. It is not punishment. It is transition. Not everyone is meant to walk beside you to the summit. Some were given only for the valley for a single stretch of road. When that stretch ends, so does their presence. The Stoics taught that all things belong to time. Friendships, too, are subject to fate's rhythm. Some endure the seasons growing deeper as roots intertwine. Others, though dear, cannot survive the winds of change. To cling is to weigh yourself down with those who no longer share your path. Imagine a traveler ascending a steep mountain while carrying stones. Every step becomes harder, not because the mountain resists him, but because he refuses to set down the weight. And there are harsher lessons. When growth stirs in you, some feel threatened. They see in your rising what they fear in themselves. Envy stirs, masks fall, smiles grow thin, and support turns to silence. This is painful, but it is also revelation. For the storm does not invent weakness, it exposes it. Those who cannot rejoice in your becoming were never companions of your soul, only companions of your comfort. It is natural to grieve their absence. The heart does not let go without ache. But grief is not a chain, it is a cleansing. By loss you are made lighter. By solitude you are prepared for the companions worthy of the next horizon. Think of the winter tree. Its branches stand bare, stripped of leaves. To the unwise it looks like death. But the tree knows the shedding is necessary. Only by releasing what no longer clings can it endure the cold and welcome spring. So too with you. The departures you mourn are not endings but prunings. In what feels like emptiness lies the space for what is true to take root. Therefore, when people vanish from your path, resist the urge to chase them into the shadows. Do not beg for what life has already released. Trust instead that those meant to remain will remain, and those who cannot endure your growth will make way for those who can. This is not cruelty. This is the order of things. And in time you will see solitude is not abandonment, but preparation. And every face that leaves clears the horizon so you may see more clearly the road ahead. 3. The language of patterns. Sometimes the world begins to murmur in ways you cannot explain. You glance at the sky and a flock of birds crosses your path, just as a thought takes shape within you. You hear a word in passing, and that same word finds you again in a book, then again in a dream. Numbers repeat themselves as if carved into the fabric of time. To most these are dismissed as accidents, but the Stoics would not be so quick. They knew that we dwell inside a universe woven by order, not chaos. If the stars themselves follow their appointed courses, why should the small events of your life be without meaning? These repetitions are not noise. They are hints, threads in the great tapestry of fate tugging at your attention. It feels uncanny, almost sacred. The mind cannot grasp it fully, yet the heart knows. You pause and sense that life is not only happening to you, but also speaking to you. The river of existence places stones in certain patterns. Whether you notice is your choice. These signs do not force you. They beckon. A number glowing again and again is not a command, but a lantern on a dark path. A coincidence too sharp to ignore is not mere chance. but an opening in the veil. They ask, will you listen? Will you step closer? The danger lies not in seeing patterns where there are none, but in refusing to see when the patterns are real. Many people glimpse them, yet shrug, retreating into disbelief, fearing the weight of meaning. They live deaf to the music of existence even as the melody swells around them. But you are awake enough to notice. That alone is a sign. For synchronicities appear most strongly when a threshold nears, when life is bending toward transformation. They are like the wind that changes before a storm, like the silence that deepens before dawn. You cannot measure them, but you can feel them. So when the patterns gather around you, do not rush. Do not explain them away. Be still. Ask yourself, what thought was passing through me when this appeared? What choice lies before me that fate now underlines, not with fear, not with superstition, but with reverence? For to walk wisely is to live as though life itself is a dialogue, a conversation between your will and the order of the cosmos. And these synchronicities, strange and shimmering, are the pauses in that dialogue, where the universe speaks first. Do not let them slip past like water through open hands. Attend to them. For in these moments you are reminded you are not wandering in a desert of chance. You are being guided gently, mysteriously, toward a horizon greater than you can yet see. 4. When the door appears. There are hours in life when the air seems unchanged, when your days move with the same slow rhythm as before, and then suddenly, without warning, something shifts. A message comes, a chance meeting, a thought so sharp it feels placed in your mind by a hand unseen. A door stands open where only a wall had always been. Most falter here. They blink, hesitate, and whisper to themselves, "This cannot be real. It is too sudden." And while they hesitate, the door begins to close. For opportunity does not wait, just as the tide does not pause for the sailor who cannot decide to set sail. The Stoics would remind you, life is motion. Nature flows onward, never stagnant. Why should your own path be any different? What appears to you as sudden has long been forming quietly beneath the surface. The chance you face today was seeded long ago. It blooms now only because the season has arrived. And yet fear clings to you. Fear of stepping into the unknown, fear of leaving behind what is familiar. But ask yourself, when the path opens, what is gained by refusing it? To remain is to rot. To delay is to lose. To step through is to live. The river does not question whether it is ready to join the sea. It moves, it crashes, it surrenders, and in that surrender it becomes vast. So must you. The door before you is not random, it is alignment. It appears because you are being called to rise. Do not demand certainty. Certainty is the comfort of those who never venture. What you are given is not a guarantee, but a chance. That is enough. For a single step through the right door can change the entire shape of a life. Think of it this way. The world seldom grants us the luxury of perfect timing. It offers us instead a sudden window, brief, bright, demanding courage. To seize it is to honor the rhythm of fate. To turn away is to betray yourself. So when the unexpected beckons, do not wait for proof. Do not look back at the crumbling shore. Walk forward, steady, decisive. For opportunity is not a guest that lingers at your table. It knocks, and if you do not answer, it is gone. The Stoic knows this. He does not cling to what is behind him, nor does he tremble before the unseen ahead. He sees the open door, breathes once, and steps through. 5. The gentle pull of renewal. There are mornings when you wake and feel a quiet summons within you. It is not loud, not demanding. It is a soft tug, like the wind moving a curtain, like a voice that speaks without words. You find yourself drawn toward something unfamiliar, the wish to learn, the urge to wander, the thought of beginning again. You try to dismiss it. You tell yourself it is fleeting, that reason should explain it away. Yet the feeling lingers. It returns the next day and the next, until it no longer feels like a passing mood, but a hidden thread weaving itself through your days. The Stoics would say, this is the soul moving ahead of the mind. Nature knows when it is time for transformation, just as the seed knows when to break open in darkness before it sees the sun. The desire for change is not random. It is a sign that the form you wear has grown too narrow. There is, of course, fear. The familiar whispers its comforts, stay where you are. Do not risk. You have enough. And yet the pull does not loosen. For the self that you are becoming cannot remain in the confines of the self you once were. Think of water pressing against stone. Slowly, patiently, it shapes its way through, carving a new course. That gentle urge within you is the water. Resist it too long, and it grows into a flood. But yield to it, and it guides you toward a wider space where you may flow freely. This is not restlessness for its own sake. It is not the craving of novelty. It is preparation. The new skill you feel called to learn, the project that draws your interest, the journey that whispers to you, all may be the tools needed for a life not yet visible. Fate often equips us in advance, placing within us desires that seem without reason, only to reveal their purpose later. So listen. Do not bury the call beneath excuses. Do not demand proof before you move. The soul speaks in urges, not in explanations. To wait for certainty is to betray the very voice that calls you. Be gentle with yourself. Do not treat this longing as madness. Treat it as guidance. For one day you will look back and see that this quiet pull was the beginning of the path that carried you to where you were meant to stand. And remember, the Stoic way is not to resist the rhythm of nature, but to move with it as a tree bends to the wind and yet grows taller for it. What feels like an inexplicable desire is often the first step of destiny disguised as a whisper. 6. The trial by stone and storm. There comes a point on the path when the air thickens and the ground turns hostile beneath your feet. The very road you trusted begins to break apart. Plans unravel, bonds fracture, and what you thought secure scatters like dry leaves in the wind. Everywhere you turn, resistance rises. It feels as though fate itself has arrayed its forces against you. But do not mistake this for misfortune. This is the trial that stands before every ascent. The Stoics taught that nothing great is granted without resistance. The mountain does not surrender its summit to the untested. The sea does not calm itself for the timid sailor. If the goal were small, the struggle would be light. The very weight of the obstacles reveals the magnitude of what awaits you. Iron does not become a blade without fire and hammer. The ore resists, bends, cracks. Yet in the furnace of struggle, it is shaped into something enduring. So too are you. Each setback, each denial, each collapse is a strike of the hammer. Painful, yes, but with every blow you are being forged into one who can carry the life that is coming. It is here that many falter. They see the rising storm and turn back saying, "Perhaps this path was not meant for me." But storms are not sent to deny you. They are sent to prove you. The greater the tempest, the surer the sign that the shore ahead holds treasure. Think of the river cutting its canyon. The rock resists, but the water does not retreat. Patient, relentless, it carves its way through, shaping beauty and depth where there was once only hardness. Your struggles are that river. If you endure, they will carve you into strength beyond what you imagine. Yes, fear will whisper that surrender is easier. Weariness will tell you to rest in the ruins. But the Stoic remembers diamonds are born of pressure, and the brightest flame emerges from the fiercest fire. To wish away hardship is to wish away your own transformation. So when obstacles gather like soldiers upon your road, stand firm. Let your spirit be the mountain that does not bow to the storm. Let your will be the flame that does not extinguish in the wind. For every trial is not a wall, but a gate. And only by passing through do you prove yourself worthy of what lies beyond. This is the secret hidden in adversity. It is not sent to destroy you, but to reveal you. Without it, your strength would remain unknown even to yourself. And once you emerge from the storm, you will not look back in bitterness. You will see clearly that the struggle was the very path that shaped you, the trial by which you became unshakable. 7. When illusions fall away. Clarity seldom arrives as comfort. More often it cuts. One day you look at a face you have known for years, and in an instant the mask slips. You see the envy behind the smile, the calculation hidden in the kindness. Words that once warmed you now taste hollow, stripped of their disguise. What you thought solid reveals itself to be hollow timber, ready to collapse at the first touch. It is unsettling, even cruel. You wonder, was it always like this? Have I been blind? The answer is yes. The world did not change overnight. You did. When the soul begins to awaken, it can no longer tolerate the illusions it once embraced. The veil is torn, and behind it stands the truth, sharp and undeniable. The Stoics warned of this moment. To see things as they are is the beginning of wisdom, but wisdom rarely soothes. It unsettles because it forces you to confront the false comforts you leaned upon. That friendship built on convenience, that duty accepted without question, that routine which numbed rather than nourished, all revealed now for what they are. This is why many resist awakening. They close their eyes, cling to their illusions, and call it peace. But it is not peace. It is sleep. And sleep cannot last forever. When the sun rises, the eyes must open even if the light burns. Do not curse this clarity. It feels like a wound, but it is a liberation. For once the veil has lifted, you are free to choose with open eyes. You no longer stumble through shadows, mistaking chains for safety. You see who truly walks beside you and who never did. You see which paths lead forward and which lead only in circles. Yes, the truth is cold, but better a cold truth than a warm lie. Better the sharp edge that cuts than the soft poison that lulls you to ruin. The tree cannot grow toward the light if it insists on clinging to the soil that rots its roots. So accept this unveiling, even as it unsettles. It is not the end of your world, it is the end of your blindness. What falls away now is what never truly belonged. And though you may walk lighter, you do not walk weaker. For to live with eyes open, though it may sting, is to walk as one who cannot be deceived. 8. The stillness beneath the storm. There comes a stage when everything around you seems to fall apart. Plans collapse, people depart, the life you once clung to dissolves like mist under the rising sun. And yet, strangely, you are not undone. Beneath the noise, beneath the uncertainty, you feel a current of calm, as though something deep within already knows the outcome. This is not denial, it is recognition. The Stoics taught that the world is ruled by change, and to resist change is to suffer. But when you surrender to its rhythm, you discover a strength that no loss can shake. The storm rages above, yet at the bottom of the sea there is stillness. That stillness is now within you. You remember perhaps other storms, times when everything seemed lost, when the night was endless, yet somehow in hindsight, you see that each ending was a beginning. The ruin of one path revealed the opening of another. The hand that once trembled now rests steady, for it knows the hidden pattern what falls apart, does so to make space for what must arrive. This peace cannot be forced. It is not the shallow calm of pretending everything is fine. It is the deeper trust that whispers. This too is part of the order. You may not see the horizon yet, but you no longer need to. Faith has taken root, not faith in chance, but in the law of nature that governs all. Others may panic running back to what is already gone. They cling to the fragments of the past, begging the world to stay as it was. But you standing in the eye of the storm know better. You breathe, you wait, you endure. Not because you are immune to pain, but because you are anchored in something greater than pain. The peace you feel now is your confirmation. It tells you that you are aligned with the path, that nothing essential can be taken from you. The house may fall, the branches may break, but the root endures. You are that root, so do not fear the chaos. Let it come, let it pass. For soon what seemed destruction will reveal itself as renewal. And when the dust settles, you will see clearly the storm was not your enemy. It was your guide. Closing. The path woven together. You have walked through many thresholds now, from the first unease that shook the ground beneath your feet, to the solitude that came when companions drifted away. From the strange signs that whispered in patterns, to the sudden doors that opened unbidden. From the gentle pull of renewal to the fiery trial of obstacles, from the sharp unveiling of truth to the quiet stillness that emerged within chaos. Taken alone, each sign may have seemed confusing, too subtle, too painful, too strange. But together, they form a single path, a rhythm of transformation that life has always followed. For nothing changes all at once. It begins as restlessness, a stirring within. Then life clears, the path removes what no longer belongs. It signals, it opens doors, it awakens new desires. It tests, it reveals, it strips illusions. And finally, when everything appears broken, it offers the deepest gift, peace. The Stoics never promised that the path of change would be gentle. They knew it would feel like fire, like storm, like tearing away the skin you have long worn. But they also knew that only through such trial does the soul find its shape. The seed must break. The iron must endure the hammer. The tree must lose its leaves before it can bloom again. So too must you. What then is the task of one who follows this path? It is not to cling, not to resist, not to beg life to remain as it was. It is to walk with eyes open and heart steady, accepting that every ending is also a beginning. It is to read the signs with reverence, to step through the doors with courage, to endure the obstacles with strength, to face the truth with unflinching eyes, and to hold peace within even as the world trembles without. This does not mean you will not feel pain. The Stoics never denied sorrow, never silenced grief. But they taught that pain need not rule you. You may feel the storm without being swept away. You may lose without being broken. You may stand amid ruin and still find within yourself a fortress untouched. For the essence of Stoicism is not escape, but transformation. It does not remove the struggle, it remakes the struggler. It does not promise a world without chaos, it teaches you to be the calm at the center of it. The signs you have seen, the restlessness, the loss, the synchronicities, the trials, these are not accidents. They are the very shape of your becoming. So ask yourself now, will you turn back clinging to the fragments of the old life? Or will you step forward carrying only what is true into the life that is waiting beyond? The choice has always been yours. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every difficulty, every loss, every sign is not placed, to stop you, but to lead you deeper into the path that is already yours. The universe is always speaking, always guiding, always shaping. And you, by listening, by trusting, by enduring, become aligned with its order. This is the quiet sovereignty of the Stoic, to walk unshaken through storms, to stand rooted when others scatter, to move with the rhythm of fate without fear. Now you know the signs. They are not random. They are not against you. They are your invitation. And as you walk forward, remember, peace is not found at the end of change, but in the heart that accepts change as the very nature of life.